think Sri Lanka is one of the latest examples of the world community letting a government get away with denying access for the international community of witnesses, of humanitarian relief, of protection for civilians. There is, as you will know, a provision adopted in this House in 2005, which is the responsibility to protect. It was not upheld in the Sri Lanka case. In my view, the heads of state failed what they solemnly swore to do, namely to protect the civilian population in Sri Lanka. We've seen many other cases as well, from Eastern Congo to Gaza to Burma of late. We do. What happened with the women in Sri Lanka, the Tamil women, for example, we don't even know, because there was not access. What we can safely assume that there were a number of horrors, and we can also safely assume that new conflict will brew because injustice is prevailing. And I'm not speaking in my capacity as a non-UN member. I'm a staff. I am now, as you know, director of the Norwegian Institute for International Affairs.
Okay. We'll go to Catherine, then to Betsy.
Yes, Catherine Mercier from CBC Radio-Canada. I have a question. You talk about the fact that these are crimes against humanity, war crimes, and at the same time you say how ignored they have been for so many years. I would like to know if you could tell us what are the competing issues when you sit down at these mediation tables or the negotiation tables. What are the other issues that are so much more important that you would completely ignore rape and sexual violence?
Who would like to answer that? Yes.
Well, I've been a peace process facilitator in my previous lives, actually a number of times. What I think was clearly also explained in the colloquium by a number of mediator colleagues is that the mediator's job is the most lonely in the world in many ways. It is nearly impossible to get parties to the table. 99% of your time is trying to get a process started, and the only thing, as I say, they agree on is to forget about the past, forget about their respective atrocities, look to the future, as it is very nicely said. No mediator wants to forget this, and no mediator can provide amnesty for it. However, unless there is massive support from the world community, from the Security Council, from the member states, the mediator cannot bring it forward. In the local community, national, very often this is a taboo issue. Not even the women themselves want it to be raised, but not necessarily leaders within their own communities. So it is a very difficult issue to bring forward, and that's why they all need help to bring it forward. We need to not only demand that they do it, we need to support them to do it.
If I may jump in, one of the greatest tragedy for anyone, especially for myself, is looking back at a piece of job you've done and looking at issues that are key issues and saying to yourself, we failed miserably on this particular issue, which was the most important. And I think, like he said, this whole issue of smooth process is a lie that we need to do away with. Mediators want the process to be smooth. The quote-unquote parties to the conflict want the process to be smooth. So then they make women and other victims of the war believe that